My mentee is Akshaya. She is in the 8th grade at Littleton Middle School in Massachusetts. This is near Boston, and I also live near Boston, so we were able to meet in person, thanks to her dad, who would drive her 40 minutes all the way out to where I live. I think the most impressive thing you'll find about Akshaya's project is that she identified the problem entirely by herself. She identified the components of the problem and then found a solution, a systematic solution that would solve each of the components of the problem in a whole. I think you'll find it's a great solution to the problem that she defined. And I'm sure it'll make a lot more sense when you see her presentation.
So my mentor is Sandra H. She's originally from British Columbia, Canada, and graduated from the University of British Columbia. And right now she's a software engineer in test and works at Oracle in IoT cloud services and has been for 8 years. In her free time, she enjoys bike riding, fixing puzzles, and reading sci-fi and mysteries. So a problem I wanted to fix through my magical experience was our health teacher has a hard time keeping track of community service hours of students, which is a big requirement in health in our school. So she uses forms that students turn in as their community service, and those forms always get lost or mixed up in a pile of 300 forms. And also, students don't know where to find community service opportunities around the community or don't know how many hours they're required to perform. So I wanted to create a website where students can send in their community service forms to their teachers, and teachers can post information about different community service opportunities around the community. And I wanted to make it so the website would have a requirements page where students are constantly reminded how many hours they're required to perform. And I had no background knowledge in CSS or HTML, which I used to build my website. So this is the CSS Codecademy course that I started out with. And this is the HTML course that I had to start out with. So as you can see over there, that's where I learned about the different tags or HTML. And I would implement them in this section here, and I would see the output. And this really helped me visualize how I wanted my website to turn out to be or look like, and which tags I could use to make it look that certain way. And another source I used was the w3schools.com website. And so here I learned about specific tags or specific HTML that I could use and that wasn't gone over in the Codecademy courses, like background color, the color that I wanted in my websites, and the different fonts that I wanted to include to make it powerful. And I also learned about the iframe syntax, which I will explain later as I demo my website. So this is the home page of my website right here. As you can see, the web address right there, it's anopramesh.github.io. So we published it through GitHub. And initially when I started writing the HTML for the website, I started on Notepad. And then I was using Eclipse to learn Java. And so we tried downloading certain apps to push the HTML onto GitHub, but that didn't work. So we came across IntelliJ, and so I transferred all the code that I've written so far onto IntelliJ, and we directly pushed all the code onto Git from there. So as you can see here, this is my web page, home page, I'm sorry. So other pages are the requirements page, opportunities recommendations, and the community service form. So the requirements page is to remind students of the different requirements of community service and how many hours are required. So you can see here, 6th grade's required 1, 7th grade 2, 8th grade 3, but there are other clubs that you can be involved in our school, like the National Junior Honor Society, which you have to apply. And these clubs require community service, and they require more hours than required in school. For example, the National Junior Honor Society requires 12 hours for each student prior to applying. And my next page is the opportunities page. So as you can see here, this is a calendar that I created on Google Calendars using my school account. And so it has all the opportunities in my community for a given month, and this is June this month. And so I created it on Google Calendars, and I used the iframe syntax that I mentioned earlier and put or embedded this calendar onto the website. And so students can find different opportunities to volunteer in, and below I added a opportunity sign-up sheet, which I created using Google Forms. And I created it using my school account. And so this is where students can find the certain events that they want to volunteer at and sign up. And once they submit it, it would get submitted to our teacher, and she would know that so-and-so want to volunteer at so-and-so event. And so even if they forget or don't turn in their community service form, they know that their students actually took initiative to volunteer. My next form is the community service form, which I also created using Google Sheets, Forms, using my school account. And so I took the original form that we initially turned into our teacher and made it electronic on the forms. And so this is where students would submit their community service, and it would get sent to our teacher via email. So the reason why I created my opportunity sign-up forms and my community service form through my school account was so that it could be only accessed by students of my school using their school account or teachers of my school using their school account. And I did this to make my website more secure. And so if you used any other Google account and went onto my website, you'd need permission to access it. My next page is the opportunities recommendation page, as you can see here. So it has another forms that I created called the opportunities recommendation, which I used another Google account, not my school account, to make it. And so the purpose of this form is so that anyone of our community can go onto my website and give information about different community service opportunities they know about in our community. And so they can make a recommendation and submit it to our teacher. And our teacher can go on to the calendar on the opportunities page and add in the certain event that someone recommended. And that was my website. In my magical experience, I also wanted to learn Java, and I had no background knowledge in Java either, so I started out with a simple Udemy course. And for practicing those skills, my mentor, Sandra, she introduced to me a website called Practice It, where it would have certain puzzles that use certain skill sets that I've learned in Java to solve. And also, as I learned more and more skill sets, my mentor challenged me with these exercises. And some of my most favorite exercises or labs that I've worked on in the past few months is for practicing Scanner. I had to develop a simple chatbot, which is it's basically like a simple Siri. So if you input in a question or a sentence, the program would give a reply. And so in this program, you would look for certain keywords. So for example, say someone input in, what is your age? And age would be the keyword, and it would reply, giving a certain number. And I also practiced another skill set, arrays. And so I worked on this picture lab where we used arrays to alter the pixels and colors of those pixels to create mirror images. That's all. I'd really like to thank my mentor, Sandra. She's really helped me grow since I had no background in computing at all. She's really helped me learn a lot about computing and how I can use it in the future for STEM as a career. And I'd also like to thank Magic and Miss Ira. This is really a great opportunity, and I was really excited, and it's been really an exciting experience. I've always had an interest in STEM or in computing, but I never really knew how to get started before this. And it's really inspired me, and it has helped me to think forward about the future and about future projects I can do using the knowledge I've gained through this program. Thank you.